I had anticipated that this was, based on polling. I mean, it was neck and neck. And so I think I was already preparing myself. I wasn't going to have a 2016 thing happen in my spirit again. So I was pretty much kind of geared up for hey, this is very much so a reality. He's already this far. Why not? This is certainly possible. And looking back, there's actually a lot of signs in political science that people are kind of pointing to that really should have clued in that this was probably going to be the eventual outcome. But, I would have much preferred, cards on the table, I would have preferred a different outcome than Trump being the president again. I don't think that's going to be very good. But, for a couple of reasons, I'm not. My grieving phase was about 5 minutes after I figured okay, this is definitely going to happen now. Kind of sat with that for a second and then decided for a variety of reasons, here's how we need to pursue it. One, I've already, my wife back in 2016 or 2017 got diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, and she's fine today, clear scans. But for that 2 weeks was the worst 2 weeks of my life. It was the worst news I've ever gotten in my life. And compared to that 2 weeks, no bad news, short of losing my own child, no bad news on earth could ever match that. And so political, whoever's in office just does not compare to that kind of bad news. So I'm a little bit ruined for bad news. You know what I mean? I'm already kind of over a lot of whatever politically could happen. And so moving on from that though, there's a variety of reasons I think both the right and the left should not take the results as either a full-throated endorsement of what they were believing or a full-throated rejection of it. So here's an example. So over the past couple of days, we were talking about before we started rolling that you've heard both lamenting on the left about, hey, the world is going to end, it's over, and on the right, hey, this is time to spike the football, and this is just going to be great. Obviously, this is an endorsement of everything that we believe and want. Really, in hindsight, I think all of the political scientists and the data that we have on how this election turned out the way it did was one, economic frustrations and a low rating to an incumbent president. And Harris was associated with Biden, who was rated really low as the president.
Yeah.
And statistically speaking, you have an uphill battle if you have a low rating president. If you're a part of that incumbent party, and the economy is in bad shape, and it's actually not in bad shape, but inflation hurts, and I'm having to pay over $10 for my Chick-fil-A now, and that's really frustrating, and I don't like that. And so I get it. People really felt the pinch of inflation. Even though economic numbers are quite good, Democrats lost the vibe war, right? Republicans were able to kind of convince more that hey, this is in bad shape and it's Biden's fault. Harris got a part of that. So you've got this economic story that's really driving this. You've also got what's going on globally right now, which is incumbents around the world. Incumbent parties are all losing, and they are being replaced by out of office parties who are promising kind of the fix of a global inflation that's happening. So in a sense, Harris was kind of doomed from the start.